Chapter 140, Hurry up and help me. Lu Ting Xiao. Lu Ting Xiao. Lu Ting Xiao hastily threw aside what he was holding and ran next to the bathroom door. Ning Xi, what's wrong? Lu Ting Xiao. I'm here. Get in here. Go in. Hurry up. Hurry, hurry. Ah. Are you all right? Lu Ting Xiao was getting more and more nervous, but he didn't dare to simply push the door open and enter. My leg is cramping. It's cramping. Hurry up and help me. Ow. Lu Ting Xiao facepalmed in both relief and helplessness before quickly pushing open the door and entering. The water was cold, so there wasn't any vapor inside. After being thoroughly soaked, her clothing had become completely transparent. Lu Ting Xiao swallowed slightly. Even though he hadn't been drugged, his degree of suffering wasn't any less than Ning Xi's. Lu Ting Xiao. Lu Ting Xiao. Ning Xi's urging brought him back to reality. Lu Ting Xiao quickly walked over. Which leg is it? The right leg. The right leg. Ning Xi's face had turned white from the pain. Lu Ting Xiao simply dispensed with formalities and quickly used one hand to hold her ankle and the other to hold her thigh. Then, he began to massage her with some force. Is this okay? No. It's still cramping. Use a little more strength. How about now? Ah. It hurts. Gentler. Is it okay now? Almost there, almost there. In just a few minutes' time, Lu Ting Xiao's entire body had become covered in sweat. Exhausted, he gently set down her leg. A second later, Lu Ting Xiao suddenly noticed the many glaring red rope marks on her body and her legs. His expression immediately turned cold. What happened to your body? Did Zhu Xiangcheng do this? My body. Ning Xi subconsciously touched her thigh where it was slightly sore. Are you talking about these? I got them from the suspension wires today. Only then did Lu Ting Xiao's expression relax. However, he quickly frowned again. I'll go get some medicine for you. After saying so, he looked at her worriedly. Don't keep soaking. You'll get sick if you go on like this. Ning Xi instinctively sunk deeper into the water and used her fingers to form a 10 minutes. Just give me 10 more minutes. I was almost fully recovered, but when you came in. Pub future ads. Lu Ting Xiao, fine. He exited the bathroom and then opened the hotel room door once more. Sure enough, Lu Jingli came tumbling inside again. Lu Ting Xiao. Lu Jingli. Within a second, Lu Jingli crawled to his feet and bowed. Bro, I'm sorry. I'll leave immediately. Hold on. Go down and help me buy some medicine. Lu Ting Xiao stopped him. What kind of medicine? Lu Jingli wagged his tail, wearing an ambiguous expression. Anything for bruising and such. Lu Jingli's eyes immediately lit up like lamps. Bro, you finally showed off your prowess. Lu Ting Xiao's icy gaze fixed onto him. Lu Jingli, I'm sorry, I was wrong. If you finally showed your prowess, how could it have been so short? This lowly one will go run the errand right now. Not even 5 minutes later, Lu Jingli had already come running back after buying the medicine. He spoke with a virtuous expression. Bro, why don't you just let me stand guard outside? Wouldn't it be great if I could go run errands for you at any time? Lu Ting Xiao cast him a side glance. If I see you a third time, then the consequences would be very grave. Lu Jingli could only let out a sigh of regret. Then, he sneakily fished out a little square box from his pocket. Bro, I bought you this in passing. It's definitely better than the ones provided by the hotel. Are you sure you don't want it? Ow! Lu Jingli had been thrown out with a kick. Chapter 141, Succumbing to My Beastly Instincts. After setting down the medicine, Lu Tingxiao was just about to knock on the door to ask if Ning Xi was finished when the bathroom door was abruptly pulled open by the person inside. Tightly wrapped up in a large bath towel, Ning Xi hopped out like a furry little bug. "Watch out!" Anxious that she would trip and fall, he quickly stepped forward and supported her. Ning Xi sighed and spoke sincerely, "I'm not the one who needs to watch out. You're the one who needs to watch out, Lu Tingxiao." "What do I need to watch out for?" Lu Tingxiao was puzzled. Ning Xi spoke as if it was obvious, "Obviously I'm the one you need to look out for. After soaking for a while, I've almost recovered all of my strength, but the dormant volcano hidden inside my body still feels as though it may erupt at any time. Therefore, in a situation like this, you should keep your distance from me. There will be serious consequences if I succumb to my beastly instincts. Let me tell you, when I go crazy, even I'm scared of myself." The corner of Lu Tingxiao's mouth lifted slightly. After hearing her exaggerated words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In truth, he was actually hoping for something like that to happen. "The medicine has been brought over. Do you need my help?" Lu Tingxiao asked. "Absolutely not. For the sake of your chastity, it's better that I apply it myself." Ning Xi spoke with vigor. "My chastity?" Lu Tingxiao frowned. Ning Xi winked. "In the past, didn't you say that you would only have sexual relations with someone after marriage?" An upstanding and self-respecting man like him with a strong sense of values was truly like a needle in a haystack. Breaking his principles would be much too sinful. Lu Tingxiao pinched the bridge of his nose. Was it still possible to take back those words right now? Ning Xi continued hesitantly, "About that, I'm not wearing any clothing underneath." Lu Tingxiao nodded and handed her the medicine. Then, he took the initiative to leave. "I'll wait for you outside." "Sounds good." "Oh, right. Along the way, please help me check to see if my clothing, purse, and so on are out there." "Okay." Lu Tingxiao walked into the living room. After looking around for a short while, he discovered a clothing hamper in the corner. All of Ning Xi's personal belongings were inside. A light lit up inside her purse. There was an incoming call on her muted phone. Pub Future ads. Lu Tingxiao casually swept a glance over it. A second later, his pupils suddenly shrank. 2 distinct letters had popped up on the caller IDYS. It was actually that person whose identity he was still unable to uncover. The call didn't cut off and the screen continued to flash. Lu Tingxiao stared for more than 10 seconds. In the end, he used his slender finger to pick up the phone and accept the call. On the other end of the phone, there was a sound of trickling liquid, like someone was pouring wine. Immediately, a husky male voice spoke, "Hey sissy, have you received my present yet? Happy birthday!" Lu Tingxiao didn't speak. "Hello." After about 5 seconds, right when Lu Tingxiao had assumed that the other person wouldn't speak again, the voice that carried a tinge of demonic charm spoke again, "Ha, you're not Ning Xi." Lu Tingxiao remained silent. Next, the familiar sound of a wine glass lightly tapping against glass rang out. Following that, the man continued to speak with some intrigue, "Then who are you? Let me guess. You're definitely a man. A man who is with her at this hour. Are you friends with benefits or currently dating?" The man paused and then let out a deep chuckle. His tone held dangerous, hidden malice. "Ah, if you guys are dating, then has she told you that she's having an affair?" "Yeah, that's right. Furthermore, I'm the other man." What was he trying to say? Just as Lu Tingxiao was going to probe for more information, the cell phone suddenly went black. It had actually run out of battery and turned off on its own. Chapter 142, Rolling in the Hay. Support the translator by reading Hidden Marriage on Volari Novels. They had always thought that YS was one of Ning Xi's ex-boyfriends, but from what the other had just said over the phone, he and Ning Xi were still together? Otherwise, why would he have mentioned having an affair? Ning Xi had a boyfriend. She had simply never mentioned him before? When thinking of this possibility, Lu Tingxiao's expression turned stormy. However, he quickly calmed down, because there was still the likely possibility that that man had purposely said so to strike a blow at his love rival. Lu Tingxiao, I finished applying the medicine. Are my things there? They're here. Lu Tingxiao regained his senses and passed her belongings over. Lu Tingxiao waited until Ning Xi had finished changing before walking in again. After changing into her own clothes, Ning Xi felt more at ease, and the atmosphere wasn't as weird as before. Thus, she took off the blindfold. The moment she took off the blindfold, she then saw Lu Tingxiao looking at her with an extremely complicated gaze. She subconsciously touched her face and said in confusion, "Is something the matter?" Lu Tingxiao sat on the side of the bed. Ning Xi, could you tell me about your personal matters? My personal matters? What matters? Anything is fine. Ning Xi felt that Lu Tingxiao was purposely changing the topic to shift her attention, so she thought for a moment before speaking up, then I'll tell you about my hometown. Although that wasn't the answer that he had expected, they would surely bump into that topic eventually. Furthermore, this was the only time, and the very first time she had ever talked about her personal matters to him. Thus, Lu Tingxiao nodded, sure. Pub future ads. Lu Tingxiao, in the outskirts of Sea City, there's a small town called Springwind Town? A small place like that, you surely wouldn't know of it. I know of it. The scenery there is good. Hero in a Chaotic World filmed a few scenes there, right? When Ning Xi heard that, she got excited, that's right, that's right. So you knew about that? The scene in Hero in a Chaotic World where the main couple rolled in the hay in the wheat fields was filmed in our town. What rolled in the hay? Why did she mention rolling in the hay at this kind of time? She had chatted so much just to forget about that kind of topic. Okay. Ning Xi hurriedly stopped the progression of this dangerous topic. She coughed once, most importantly, because the town hasn't been developed much, so the environment there is really good and the air is very fresh. A few years ago, Lu Jingli clamored to go fishing there a few times, but I was too busy with work then, so we ended up not going. There was some regret in Lu Tingxiao's voice. If he had gone then, would he have met her earlier? When looking at it from a certain point of view, Lu Jingli could be counted as the matchmaker for him and Ning Xi. Although he hadn't gone that time, he had still met her eventually. It was also because Lu Jingli had taken Little Treasure to a bar that they had been brought together. I'll reward him properly when I get back. If you have the chance, you should go there at least once, you won't be disappointed. If you do, I can be your tour guide. When speaking of her hometown, Ning Xi's face was filled with excitement, but slowly, her expression dimmed. More than 20 years ago, the air was even better. Back then, many rich people would come for a vacation. Quite a few of them would come while pregnant for the sake of their health. 24 years ago, one of them was Madame Ning, Zhuang Lingyu. Ning Xi suddenly went silent. Lu Tingxiao didn't push her, but simply waited for her quietly. Ning Xi took a deep breath and continued speaking as if she were narrating a story. Madame Ning had been prepared to stay in Springwind Town for the duration of her pregnancy, and was going to give birth back in the city. She didn't expect that she would accidentally induce labor, causing the child to be born early. Chapter 143, Can't you play along? Because they couldn't make it back to the city in time, she was sent to the only hospital in Springwind Town. That night, another pregnant woman was also sent in. What happened then? Lu Tingxiao asked, even though he had roughly guessed what had happened next. Ning Xi shrugged, it caused a drama. That small hospital had very few staff and a disorganized system, so the two female babies were swapped, and this mistake continued for 18 years. Did you know? Ning Swallow even has the same blood type as me, so this matter stayed hidden. Then how was it discovered later on? Ning Xi turned and smiled at Lu Ting Xiao, this, well, I should thank that unbridled uncle of mine. Ning Yaobang? Lu Ting Xiao had some impression of him, but didn't know much. He only knew that he was one of the more well-known people amongst the younger generation back then in the capital. That's right. My uncle was a playboy. Even after marriage, he continued sowing his wild oats outside and even caused quite a few deaths. He has 1 son and 3 daughters in total. Perhaps there's something wrong with the feng shui at the Ning family. When it came to their generation, for some reason, both Ning Yehua and Ning Yaobang weren't able to birth legitimate sons. My uncle's bastard son became the only male successor for this generation of the Ning family. My uncle was rather cocky at that time and thought that he could finally become the successor to the family. However, in the end, they discovered that that only male son wasn't even his, he had been cheated on by that girl he had outside, haha. Can you guess what happened next? Lu Ting Xiao was completely in love with that bright sparkle in her eyes. He seemed to ponder the question before answering, then your grandfather forced all the Ning family's grandchildren to go through a DNA test, and found out that Ning Swallow wasn't even part of the Ning family. Ning Xi showed a gloomy expression, can't you play along? There's no point in trying to keep you in suspense. Lu Ting Xiao smiled gently, sorry, I'll improve next time. Ning Xi harumphed once before she continued narrating, anyway, once they started investigating, they found out that I had been swapped with Ning Swallow at the hospital back then, so I was brought back to the Ning family. Pub future ads. Hearing her speak of this matter so casually, Lu Ting Xiao stroked her head lightly, they treated you badly. She hadn't thought much of it at first, but for some reason, upon receiving that gentle pat from Lu Ting Xiao, she suddenly felt like she had suffered a major grievance. As expected, it was only when someone cared about you that you would feel aggrieved. If no one cared about you, who would you complain to? Seeing the girl's downcast appearance, Lu Ting Xiao magnanimously spread open his arms, I can lend you my embrace. Ning Xi's expression turned a little startled before she turned away, I don't want it. You're trying to entice me into committing a crime, you know. Lu Ting Xiao didn't say anything more, but continued looking at her with his full attention, what about your adopted parents? Did they treat you well? Speaking of her adopted parents, Ning Xi recovered a little of her spirit, my grandmother favored sons over daughters and didn't like me a lot. When I was born, she almost tossed me into the river to drown. She did throw me in the river once, but my dad picked me up and took me home. My mum, she treated me very well. I also have a very sensible and obedient little brother. Hearing that she had almost been thrown into the river to drown, Lu Ting Xiao's heart clenched. When she mentioned her mother, her expression didn't seem right, but he didn't ask any further. I really liked my original home. When they told me I wasn't their biological child, it felt like the sky had just fallen on me. However, with the Ning family's power, I didn't even have the freedom to choose. If I had resisted with all my might back then, perhaps there would have been a shred of hope that I wouldn't have had to leave, but... Chapter 144, There's no one better than you. Ning Xi sighed, but back then, I had fallen in love with a man, and I needed an identity that could match up to his. The light in Lu Ting Xiao's eyes flickered, that man was Su Yan. Ning Xi nodded, then she smiled, aren't you curious how I was acquainted with a rich heir like Su Yan with my identity back then? To prevent Lu Ting Xiao from guessing at it again, Ning Xi didn't keep him in suspense and answered her own question, because Su Yan's lungs were weak when he was young, he came to our town to recuperate. He lived right next to my house, and he stayed for 7 years. The first time we met, I just happened to bump into him when his illness was acting up, so I helped to carry him all the way home. Later on, we slowly got more familiar with each other. The more we got to know each other, the more we fell in love. Childhood sweethearts, Innocent playmates, what beautiful words. Had. However, later on, reality told me, that this wasn't a Cinderella story, but a story about the wolf of Zhongshan. Don't be upset, he's not fit to match you. Lu Tingxiao consoled her. She hadn't expected that she would unconsciously start talking about her ex-boyfriend with Lu Tingxiao. Ning Xi scratched her head and said in embarrassment, "We're a little off topic, let's continue talking about the Ning family." Because Ning Yehua and Zhuang Lingye couldn't bear to let go of the daughter they had raised for 18 years, after demanding to have me back, they didn't return Ning Suoluo to the Tang family. Ning Suoluo remained as their beloved daughter. You should be able to imagine what happened next. The distance caused by a separation of 18 years wasn't something that could be fixed in a single day. In front of Ning Suoluo, who had been raised under elite education for 18 years, I was an extremely unsophisticated little village girl. I was too naive back then, and treated her as a friend from the start. She used my trust to trick me into thinking that the lemon water used to rinse hands was a drink, and sent me a counterfeit dress to wear at the banquet. Using these little tricks, she slowly pushed me away from the Ning family and away from upper-class society. Those people were already used to mixing around with Ning Suoluo and were on her side. On the surface, they treated me as friends, but in private, they would mock me for being a village bumpkin. Even my biological parents hated my existence and felt that I was a stain on their reputations. After that, there was Su Yan. After Su Yan, the most important things for a girl were all trampled on and destroyed, her chastity, her reputation, and her dignity. Bit by bit, Ning Xi started hugging her knees. Today on set, something went wrong with the props. My sword hurt Ning Suoluo by accident. In the hospital, my biological mother slapped me without even asking about what had happened. My biological father only criticized and blamed me. Ning Xi gazed out the window at the inky black night. She continued with an airy tone, "Back then, for some reason, the tension I had been holding back for 5 years just snapped. I suddenly felt that there was no meaning in living, I felt that I was a failure in life. Was it because I just wasn't good enough that everyone hated me? I had worked so hard for so long, but there was no meaning to it in the end." Right after she had just finished speaking, Lu Tingxiao suddenly pulled her shoulders towards him with some force. "Ning Xi, look at me. Not everyone hates you. They're the ones who aren't good enough. Understand?" Ning Xi's eyes turned slightly red. Even if she had always been acting heartless, like she didn't care, she was still a young lady who was only 20 or so. Lu Tingxiao drew her into his embrace and kissed the top of her head gently. Ning Xi felt something heavy press on the top of her head, but didn't know what it was. Lu Tingxiao stared at her with an extremely serious gaze. "Ning Xi, if you doubt yourself, then you should try to believe me. You're great. There's no one better than you in this world." Ning Xi's sadness turned into joy. "Of course I believe in Big Boss Lu's words." Lu Tingxiao relaxed. That completely disheartened look in her eyes just now had caused him to panic badly for an instant. After staying silent for a moment, Lu Tingxiao took the initiative to ask, "Ning Xi, can I ask you a question?" TL note. The Wolf of Zhongshan is a story about creatures sticking to their true natures. In this case, a kind scholar saved a wolf that was being hunted. However, it tried to eat the scholar once the danger had passed. Here's a longer version of the story on Wikipedia, https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/the_wolf_of_Zongshan. An English equivalent might be the scorpion and the frog, https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/the_scorpion_the_frog. Chapter 145, I'll be your brain dead fan. What? Ning Xi tilted her head. Was it because he liked her, that he thought she was cute no matter what she did? Lu Tingxiao couldn't resist stroking her head again. "Do you like diamonds?" "Ah." Ning Xi hadn't expected that he would ask a strange question like that. why do you ask? It's your birthday today, so little treasure prepared a birthday present for you. It seems like it has something to do with diamonds. I was worried that you might not like it, so I'm asking on his behalf. Lu Tingxiao explained with his normal expression. So that's why. Ning Xi scratched her head upon hearing this, then said, I think there probably isn't a single woman who doesn't like diamonds, right? However, it's just my birthday, it's not good if he sends me something so expensive. Since he's just a kid, I won't accept it. It'll be better if he does something handmade. As if it had just been a careless thought, Lu Tingxiao added on, it's not something very expensive. That diamond you received on set the other day is more expensive. I'm just afraid that no other diamonds will seem as good to you after that one. Ning Xi immediately face-palmed, even you know about that. As expected, gossip travels 1,000 miles. Don't compare yourself with that weird guy, he's crazy. That guy is your boyfriend? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ning Xi almost choked on her saliva. Pfft, how could it be? How did you get such a scary thought? Because you seem rather close to him. Lu Tingxiao explained in a slightly sad tone. Ning Xi felt a headache coming on. Heavens! How do I seem close to him? Does calling him crazy make it seem we're close? Lu Tingxiao nodded, it does, to me. You're always very polite to me, and you've never criticized me even once. Ning Xi really didn't know what to say. Was the great demon king Mr. Lu a secret masochist? He actually wanted people to treat him a little worse? Anyway, that guy has nothing to do with me now. He's just crazy, he just likes throwing diamonds at people. If I meet him again, I'll definitely throw it back at him. Ning Xi spoke in a carefree tone, but when speaking of that man, a trace of fear shone in her eyes. Pub Future adds. He has nothing to do with you now, then that means there was something in the past. Lu Tingxiao caught the main point with precision. Ning Xi coughed lightly, that. I guess we could be counted as exes. If a single day counts. For some reason, she cared about the image that Lu Tingxiao had of her. She scratched her head and asked, Lu Tingxiao, do you think it's bad that I've dated so many men before? Lu Tingxiao had a solemn and respectful expression on. He replied her with utmost gravity, as if her question was a particularly important one, no, everyone has their own way of living, and there are always stories behind their actions. Anyone who doesn't know the whole truth doesn't have the right to stand on a moral high horse and criticize or punish others. Ning Xi suddenly felt a burst of warmth in her head. Following that, she immediately smiled gently, Lu Tingxiao, why do I feel like you're one of my brain-dead fans? No matter what I say or do, you'll always feel that I'm right. Brain-dead fan? Lu Tingxiao didn't seem to understand what this term meant. That's right. A brain-dead fan will support their idol completely, even against all reason. Ning Xi explained. Lu Tingxiao pondered it for a moment before muttering, that's rather fitting. Ning Xi. While looking like she was deliberately suppressing some sort of emotion, she sunk into silent thought for a while. After some time, she let out a long sigh, Lu Tingxiao, do you know? What? Do you know that you're even more scary than aphrodisiacs? Ning Xi had a very conflicted look on her face. She then tugged at her collar with a painful expression. Chapter 146, I can't bear any more of your flirting. Damn it, they had chatted for so long to shift her attention for nothing. Why did this guy suddenly start flirting with her without warning? The scariest part was that he was still sitting there with an innocent expression without realizing what he had done. Was this the so-called highest realm of flirting where he could throw out the greatest flirting moves without meaning to? Oh geez! Her mind was in so much confusion that she didn't even know what kind of strange thoughts she was having. Are you feeling unwell again? Seeing the situation, Lu Tingxiao immediately showed a tense expression. Ning Xi rubbed her temples, which had suddenly begun to throb. It wasn't as simple as feeling unwell. The surging tide that had risen again was even worse than the first one. Right now, in her vision, Liu Tingxiao had become one of the male leads in a shoujo manga. He even had his own moving background music and romantic pink cherry blossom special effects. Her inner rationality fought intensely against his seductive pink glow. She felt as if she was about to get possessed by the devil. Seeing that Ning Xi's breathing had suddenly quickened and that she was covered in sweat, Liu Tingxiao's expression abruptly changed. Where exactly do you feel unwell? Weren't you all better just now? What kind of unwell do you feel? Is it that, or something else? Liu Tingxiao spoke a little awkwardly, because he had just recalled the words she had said, that he was even scarier than aphrodisiacs. This was likely the greatest praise he had ever heard. With reddened eyes, Ning Xi stared straight at him without blinking. While getting stared at by that sort of gaze, Liu Tingxiao felt that a fire was about to light up in his body. Ning Xi shook her head forcefully and threw herself onto the bed behind her. She gazed at the ceiling above her helplessly. I guess I still have more to bear with tonight. Liu Tingxiao, if I can't hold myself back any longer later, remember to knock me out. Liu Tingxiao muttered to himself, actually, I can. Ning Xi immediately interrupted, stop, don't say any more. Please, Big Boss Liu, spare me. This little one really can't bear any more of your flirting. Liu Tingxiao raised an eyebrow, what are you thinking? I was about to say that I can leave. Oh, Ning Xi rubbed her nose in embarrassment, then mumbled falteringly, but, if I have to wait it out alone, I'll be bored. She was too embarrassed to say that she would be scared alone. However, Liu Tingxiao understood why she felt uneasy and asked gently, why don't we go home then? Pub future ads. Go home. Ning Xi froze for a moment. In the instant that she had heard those two words, she had immediately thought of the Lu residence as if it was natural. Let's forget about that. As I am right now, she didn't want to taint that place with her current appearance. Ning Xi spotted the documents and laptop that Liu Tingxiao had placed by the bed. Why don't you do your work? I'll be fine after I meditate for a bit and adjust my body. Liu Tingxiao smiled, all right. The regular rhythm of fingers tapping on a keyboard sounded in the quiet guest room, like the gentlest lullaby in the world. The girl's expression was tranquil as she slowly shut her eyes. After detecting that the breathing by his side had turned soft and steady, Liu Tingxiao stopped his actions and carefully covered her with a blanket. The girl muttered a little and subconsciously grabbed onto his fingers. Liu Tingxiao. Liu Tingxiao's body stiffened as his expression became indescribable. She had called him by name. Yes, I'm here. Don't be afraid. Liu Tingxiao bent over and kissed the girl's lips with a gentle expression. However, there were dark clouds mixed in with that gentle expression of his. Chapter 147, Little Treasure Destroys the House. Ning Xi, what should I do? I'm not as good as you think I am. Sometimes, I'm really scared when you look at me with such trusting eyes. What if a day comes when you find out that I'm not like how you think I am, will you leave me then? In the early morning, at about 5 a.m., Liu Tingxiao was woken by the sound of a doorbell. When he opened the door, he saw an anxious Liu Jingli standing outside. Bro, don't scold me first. It's a real emergency this time. If you don't go home right now, Little Treasure is going to destroy the house. They couldn't contact you or Ning Xi, so they could only call me. At this moment, Ning Xi spoke from behind, clearly having just awoken. What happened to Little Treasure? I'll go back right now. Having said so, she took up her bag and even helped Liu Tingxiao pack his things in 10 seconds. Quick, let's go. The three of them quickly rushed back to the Lu residence. When they entered the compound, Ning Xi stared blankly. What kind of situation is this? What are those? There were shiny, silvery white humanoid figures walking around chaotically all over the place. Ning Xi rubbed her eyes and stared at the scene with astonishment, feeling as if she had just stepped into a parallel dimension. Liu Jingli blinked, "Can't you tell? They're robots." Ning Xi was about to go crazy, "Of course I can tell, but why are there so many robots?" Liu Jingli was about to have a headache. This is one of Little Treasure's hobbies. It's been a while since he has taken them out to play with. Isn't this great? The moment he got agitated, he let all of them out. It looks like we've just stepped into a fortress besieged by zombies. In the area within their sights, there were already more than 20 robots wreaking havoc everywhere. Digging into the ground, running around crazily, crashing into trees, trampling on flowers. One of them even picked up a maid. Accompanying all this was the screams of the servants. The entire scene was a huge mess. Seeing that the maid was about to fall from the hands of the robot, Ning Xi quickly opened the car door and ran over, managing to catch the maid before she crashed into the ground. Pub Future Ads. "Are you all right, Wan Wan?" Wan Wan patted her chest, still frightened. She then turned to look at Ning Xi in gratitude, "Thank you, Miss Xi. Miss Xi, you've come back. Quickly, go find the little young master." In the Lu residence, all the servants, especially the female ones, were cautious and unaccepting of Ning Xi, but they just didn't dare to show it in front of her. It was only Wan Wan who had more interaction with her after regularly sending Little Treasure's handmade fruit juice to her while she was on set. Wan Wan had a good impression of her after seeing that Ning Xi didn't use the eldest young master and the little young master's doting affection to bully the servants, and even had a modest and humble attitude. After watching Ning Xi nimbly save the damsel in distress, Liu Tingxiao, who was still in the car, had a begrudging expression. Liu Jingli stuck his head out of the car window and bawled resentfully, "Xiao Xi, you're not supposed to do that. You took my role. Ow! Help me!" As he was speaking, one of his arms got grabbed by a robot. "Bro, save me! Turn this thing off quickly!" Liu Jingli, who had just been howling about missing the chance to play the hero, was requesting for help himself. Liu Tingxiao looked at him as if he wanted to help, but was unable to. "Little Treasure altered his program since the last time, I need an hour to crack it." "1 hour? My arm's going to break by then." Ah, it hurts, ow, ow." "Where's Little Treasure now?" Ning Xi hurriedly asked. "He should be in the control room." Liu Tingxiao quickly got out of the car. "I'll bring you there." "Okay." The two of them hurriedly ran towards the control room. Liu Jingli watched their disappearing figures with expectation. "Make it quick." Chapter 148, Just Carry Me. After a moment, Liu Tingxiao called the butler to prepare an open-top golf cart and quickly brought her to a small detached building behind the golf course. This building had an extremely weird shape. From the texture, it seemed to be made from some unknown metal. At one glance, it looked especially high-tech and futuristic. The Lu residence was too large. Ning Xi had never seen every single part of it despite staying for so long. This was the first time she had visited this building. There's some machinery installed in the base of this building so that it turns with the sun. The outer walls are made of solar panels, while the electricity inside comes from solar energy. The butler and maids are all robots. Liu Tingxiao fulfilled his role as a tour guide as he explained. "How cool!" Ning Xi's face was lit up, showing childlike excitement. "If you like it, you can come over to play. I'll set up access rights for you later on. You didn't seem very interested in this kind of thing previously, so I never brought you over." Liu Tingxiao said. "Not at all. I love this kind of thing. When I was young, I always dreamed that I would be taken away by a spaceship someday. When I grew up, I even thought about dating a robot. Ah, it feels so romantic just thinking about it." Liu Tingxiao, perhaps it would be better not to give her access rights. The pair walked to the entrance only to see a robot lying on the ground. Its eyes suddenly lit up red, as if scanning Ning Xi and Lu Tingxiao. When the skin hit Lu Tingxiao, the robot struggled and made ZZT sounds, "Master! Master!" This poor robot that kept calling for its master, looking like it wanted to report something but was unable to speak, was most likely the butler for this building. Lu Tingxiao sighed and opened the panel on the back of the robot. It seemed like he pressed something, before the robot's eyes turned dark and it stopped moving. Ning Xi anxiously moved closer and touched it. "Why isn't it moving anymore? It's not dead, is it? Oh, wait. I mean, it's not going to be scrapped, is it? It's fine, it'll be fine after repairs later on." Ning Xi relaxed. "Oh, then that's good. It would be such a waste otherwise, this one's rather handsome." Lu Tingxiao, "Then it should just be scrapped." Pub Future ads. After a scan of his face, he entered the main building. Ning Xi followed behind, looking around anxiously. "Where's little treasure?" The main hall was filled with robots who were patrolling about. Once they found Ning Xi and Lu Tingxiao, they turned as one and faced them. Following that, they completely ignored Lu Tingxiao and started charging towards Ning Xi. "Ah! What are they doing? Why are they all charging towards me?" Ning Xi was frightened. No matter how good her martial arts were, surely she couldn't possibly beat a steel wall of robots? Lu Tingxiao's arms reached under her arms and easily lifted her from one side to another, successfully dodging the robotic claws of one of the robots. With a helpless tone, he said, "It's because you don't have access rights, they're treating you as an intruder." "Then what should we do now?" In the time it took for her to say that, Ning Xi had already been swung about by Lu Tingxiao a few times. "Get closer to me," Lu Tingxiao ordered. "Ah! How much closer?" Ning Xi was at a loss. "Little treasure is in the control room on the top floor. Right now, we have two choices. 1. We beat them and charge in. How are we supposed to beat so many robots? What's the second choice?" Just looking at the material of the robots made her hands hurt. She didn't want to start beating them up. 2. Lu Tingxiao lowered his gaze and looked at her. "I carry you all the way up, because they won't attack me." Ning Xi blinked, then reached her arms towards him without hesitation. "Carry me." Chapter 149, A Precise Cabidan Position. Seeing that the girl was taking the initiative to reach out to him with open arms for the first time, emotion rippled in the cold depths of Lu Tingxiao's eyes. "Ah! They're coming! Lu Tingxiao, hurry up!" Ning Xi had already somehow thrown herself onto him in a mess of motion. As expected, once she was stuck onto Lu Tingxiao, the robots didn't dare to touch her. How magical! After that warm, soft and fragrant body had just abruptly clung onto him, Lu Tingxiao had a lapse in concentration before he could react. He leaned over to pick her up by the waist, before walking towards the spiral stairs step by step. This was probably the first time she had been so close to him while she was sober and awake. He really hoped that this walk would never end. If Lu Jingli knew what his brother was thinking right now. The robots followed behind as Lu Tingxiao and Ning Xi headed upstairs, maintaining a certain distance between them. To keep her balance, Ning Xi's arms were wrapped around his neck. Breathing in Lu Tingxiao's chilly yet aromatic scent, looking at the large group of robots following behind as they ascended a set of spiral stairs, she somehow felt that this scene was super romantic. However, this rose-colored bubble didn't last for long. Just as they had reached the top floor without a hitch and were preparing to open that silvery white door, the robots behind them made clacking noises and stretched their metal arms towards them. While their arms were moving, a launch tunnel that looked like a gun came out from within their arms. Ning Xi abruptly turned pale with fright. "Crap! Are those real? I thought they were just toys." Was it really good to give a 5-year-old kid such dangerous and lethal things? She really didn't know how to criticize Liu Tingxiao's child-raising methods anymore. What do we do now? Ning Xi was on the verge of tears. They were only here to find little treasure, why did they have to go through so many trials and tribulations? It was like they were going through a dungeon in a game. Liu Tingxiao held onto her shoulders and pushed her to the door panel behind them. Following that, he used his whole body to cover her, while he placed one arm on the door behind her. Ning Xi stayed silent for 3 seconds before swallowing her saliva and saying slowly, "Big boss, do you know that you just did an extremely precise Kabidon position?" Kabidon. This was clearly another term that Liu Tingxiao didn't understand. Ning Xi face-palmed. Flirting without meaning to is the most dangerous thing to do, my dear. Pub Future ads. It was at this moment that Ning Xi spotted something from the corner of her eyes. A robot had actually aimed at Liu Tingxiao's back and fired a shot. Liu Tingxiao, watch out! However, it was too late. Liu Tingxiao covered her tightly and let out a muffled grunt. Liu Tingxiao Ning Xi was in a complete panic. I'm fine. Liu Tingxiao slowly raised his head. How could you be fine? Liu Tingxiao, are you okay? I'll send you to. While in the middle of speaking, Ning Xi felt her stomach churning. Liu Tingxiao, you're really stinky. What's so smelly? Liu Tingxiao took off his jacket with a dark expression. A sticky, disgusting-looking object was stuck on the back of his jacket. Ning Xi covered her nose. While relaxing because he was fine, she spoke with a speechless expression, "What is this? It can't be poop, right?" Liu Tingxiao tossed his jacket to the floor below and said expressionlessly, "Surströmming. It's said to be the world's smelliest canned food." It was Liu Jingli's idea. The corner of Ning Xi's mouth twitched. Second young master really has the brightest ideas. It's not just smelly, it's practically a biochemical weapon. Just as she finished speaking, the door behind her suddenly opened towards them by itself. TL note, a summary of this chapter, robots, Kabidon and Surströmming. Only in him. Kabidon. Kabidon can only be explained through a pic. Kabidon is a Japanese word that is pronounced like Carbadon. In the original Chinese text, Liu Tingxiao said something with the same pronunciation, but a totally different meaning. To get the same effect, I used Carbadon. I hope that got through to you guys. Chapter 150, The Most Romantic Birthday. Let's go. Liu Tingxiao held her hand as he walked inside. His movements were extremely natural. Ning Xi glanced at their linked hands. Although she knew that Liu Tingxiao was just worried that there would be another mishap, her mood changed slightly. The lighting in the control room was very dim. There were only about 10 or so computers operating, emitting a cold glow. Ning Xi followed Liu Tingxiao as they made their way around. In the end, they found little treasure in front of the largest machine. Pub Future ads. Little treasure looked very small as he sat on his little custom-made chair in front of that monstrous machine covered in countless wires. He stared expressionlessly at the flickering screen displaying endless lines of text from computer programs. A smaller robot that closely resembled his own body shape stood by his side. The gun barrel in its hand was pointed perfectly straight in their direction. When she saw the aloof and lifeless expression on Little Treasure's face, Ning Xi felt as though her heart had been squeezed tightly by iron claws. It hurt so much she could barely breathe. "Little Treasure," she trembled as she called out softly. The little guy stared at the screen without the slightest reaction. Ning Xi was really frightened now. She had heard Liu Tingxiao and the others mention this before, but she had never personally seen what Little Treasure was like when his sickness acted up. "What do we do? This is all my fault." "Ning Xi, don't blame yourself. It's not a big deal. It's quite common for him to be in this state. He'll be fine if you call out to him a couple more times." Lu Tingxiao reassured her. In actual fact, Lu Tingxiao only said that because he was talking to Ning Xi. If it was someone else standing in her position, things wouldn't be this simple. After forcing herself to calm down, Ning Xi carefully approached him one step at a time. While the little robot's head followed her as she moved, Little Treasure remained just as unresponsive as before. Ning Xi walked up to Little Treasure and then slowly squatted down. She cautiously took up his small hand. Little Treasure. Auntie is back now. Sorry. Something happened to Auntie last night so Auntie couldn't make it back. Since Ning Xi couldn't explain the details to him, she could only lower her head sadly. After some time, a tiny little fist suddenly appeared in her line of sight. Pub Future Ads. Pub Future Ads. Following that, the little fist slowly opened to reveal a pink hair clip sitting in the middle of a soft palm. More than 100 small, pink diamonds lined up to form a heart on the hair clip. They glittered under the cold glow of the machines around them. This is, Ning Xi looked up immediately in surprise and happiness. However, not a single trace of emotion showed on the little guy's face. At the side, Lu Tingxiao glanced at the hair clip in the palm of his son's hand and spoke, "This is the birthday present Little Treasure made for you. So this is for me." The present really contained diamonds. Ning Xi felt rather embarrassed. Lu Tingxiao saw through her thoughts and explained immediately, "They're just some common rhinestones so it's not very expensive." However, Little Treasure personally glued on each of the 99 crystals one at a time. When Ning Xi heard this, she was moved to tears in an instant. Instead of taking the hair clip directly, she asked Little Treasure, "Could you help Auntie put it on?" Little Treasure's vision slowly focused on the hair clip, before he extended his little hand and clumsily placed the hair clip on her hair, close to her ear. Ning Xi touched the clip and smiled happily, "Does it look nice?" Little Treasure nodded. After finally getting a response from Little Treasure, Ning Xi couldn't endure it any longer, so she pulled the little guy into her arms. At the same moment, with a bang, the little robot on the side shot out a burst of colorful confetti and even began to play the happy birthday song. Ning Xi's eyes watered up as she looked up at the confetti-filled air. "Thank you, darling. This is the most romantic birthday I've ever had in my life."